scientific way to measure out what I need. I just kind of line it up on there, and then I'll take my finger and kind of hold it there, take a set of scissors, and just cut out what I need. Once it's cut to the approximate size, I'll double check it. I hate it because every once in a while I cut it too short. So I'm a little bit over on the sides, which will come in real handy later on actually. If you have a little bit more, it covers the disc better than if you don't. And then you have to figure out some alternative ways to cover the disc so when you dip it in the dye it doesn't get the edges covered with dye. Now I'm going to carefully take and tape down the corners, ensuring that my vinyl sheet is flat. You got to be careful here because at times you can fold it, or you'll put a bubble in it, or basically hurt the vinyl in some little way. Work on a nice big flat open surface like I have here, somewhere where you can easily put everything, and make sure that you basically end up with the backing and the vinyl on there. Now I'm going to take it and I'm going to feed it into it just like a printer. There are two little rollers which you can't see, but there are two little rollers which I can feed it right up to the edge and then ensure that it's down. I'll put it about an inch in, maybe a little bit more, and it's off center. So I'm going to pull it back out and realign it and make sure it's flat, and then grab it. There we go. Now it's going in line. I'm going to take it about 3/4 of an inch, maybe an inch in, close it up, and we're ready to plot. So from here I'm going to go back into the application and show you how to plot it, and we'll be good to go. Okay, so a buddy of mine asked me to do a disc die for him. He didn't give me any instructions as to how he wanted it, so I'm just going to create one for him. In fact, he asked me to just create one for him. So first thing I'm going to do is grab something out of my stock set of stencils that I have, and grab something that I can mess around with and see what I can come up with, which I've done so far. I'm adding a layer, so I want to, his name, he goes by Mad Mike, so I like these M's here. I think they look pretty good and I think I can use them. But when I cut out the middle there to do some stuff in the middle, you can see those lines coming up. So I want to make sure I get rid of them as good as possible. So what I do is, let's highlight them so I can see them as good as possible. So I made another layer, and I made it white, and I'm going to take the eraser tool and I'm going to go ahead and just start erasing everything out. So we should be able to, oh, I'm not doing it, I'm on the wrong layer. So undo is your friend, Control Z, Control Z. Let's highlight the right layer, and now we'll start to go ahead and erase out all those lines and make it look better. I'll probably fast forward this. So the next thing I do is grab the text tool. I'm going to add another layer. I add a layer for just about everything I do, because if you want to remove something or change it out, it's a lot easier to do if it's on a layer, and you can just delete the layer or hide the layer and try something else out. So I want something that's going to fit up in the M's pretty good. Let's go with, I don't know, 48. Is that going to be too big? Mad. If you take the grab tool there and you left click, you can change it just a little bit. That looks pretty good, huh? So there's the Mad. Let's go ahead and add another layer and do the same thing for the Mike. tooltip, bang. Let's slide that in there. That looks pretty good, huh? What else can we add? Let's add, how about, let's put his PDGA number on there. And I was just playing with this other font that I really liked. There, this one right here. And his number is, I'm going to another screen and pulling it off here, is 42964. So that looks good, but it looks kind of small. Let's bump that up. Whoa, that's big. Let's see what happens here if we can center it. You know, I really like that right there. So that looks like a good good stencil for my buddy Mad Mike. So I'm just going to save this now as I'll save it as a PDN file first, because it'll save the layers in there. And if I want to do somebody else's name now, I can just, like I said before, go in and either just uncheck a layer like I did there, and then make a new layer and put what I want in there, or I can go ahead and delete the layers. It doesn't really matter. Then I'm going to file, save as, I'll do it as a JPEG this time, and I'll go ahead and save that in the stencils folder as well, the new one. So now I have a flattened file. Flatten just takes it and removes all the layers. So as you can see down there, it's just one file now. And what I'll do is I'll take that file and I'll fire up my application to cut vinyl with. Now I just need to go in and grab the Mad Mike stencil that I had before. Which one was it? This one right there. And if you've seen my other video, I just want to make sure it's good and centered and nice and big on here, so I can make a nice big cut. It'll make a nice big die on it. Maybe a little bit more. I'll go ahead and trace this out now. Boom. So in order for the plotter to cut it, I have to trace out the area that I want. And when you select it, it'll highlight it based on the filter settings here. So basically everywhere you see yellow, it will cut both sides of that. I want it to cut that right there. So if I take the high pass filter off, it'll highlight everything that I did. And now all I got to do is hit the trace button, and it went real quick there. You can't really see it, but if I go ahead and delete that, you can see the red there. So the red is where the machine is going to actually cut, and that's what I want it to cut. So I'm going to save this now as a Silhouette file in Silhouette Studio. It's a free application. You can download it. And once that's saved, I've already loaded up my paper, my vinyl rather, and I'm going to go ahead and just cut this bad boy right now. I don't change my settings. They're already set. You may want to play with your settings once you get a plotter, or read the manual and see what's best, and you'll get it figured out. So I'm going to go ahead and set that to cut, and it'll start cutting, and it'll be a while. I still have the vinyl taped to the backing that I use to keep everything flat as it goes through there. So I'm just going to take it off the backing real quick. I'm going to leave the tape on, and I'll show you why in just a little bit. Well, I can actually use it right now to hold it to the table nice and flat too. So first things first, I usually have an X-Acto knife, but it has come up missing. Of course I wanted to do this tonight, so it's come up missing. I'm using another knife, and I'm not sure how well it's going to go, but we'll just start what's called weeding. So basically I want to take out the part where I want the die to sit on the disc. And this knife seems like it might work okay, except it's sliding on me. So basically you want to take just a very edge of the area, and if your settings are set up correctly on the plotter, you should be able to pull out the vinyl that you don't want to affix to the that you don't want where you want the die to go. Did that make sense? I'm trying to do two things at once. I obviously can't talk and weed at the same time. This one's going to be a little bit more difficult because there is a line in the middle of that D. So you see how that line is left there? That's what you want. Same thing with the hole in the A, which is coming up next. You just have to be very careful. I find that if you curl it, if you curl the vinyl that you're taking off right at the point where they meet, it generally comes off a lot. It'll see, I don't know if you can see it, but I curled it real hard right there, and it just peeled up just fine without any trouble at all. So now we have one fully weeded piece of vinyl that's ready to be applied to a disc so that it can be dyed. I'm going to cut right here and save applying this to the disc for the dye portion of the video, which will be my next segment when I get to that point. As you can see, I have some others to weed tonight, and I'll probably cut a few more so I can do a batch of dyes all at once, and I'll try to get that done tomorrow night. Who knows? I know Mike wants his disc. I've had it for 2 weeks now, so and we have a tournament Saturday at an ice bowl, so I'm sure he wants it. Anyway, thanks for watching. This is Chris Engel with PoweredByPlastic.com. Thanks for checking out my video, and I hope you check back often or share this video if you like it, and help grow the sport one disc at a time.